I share tonight, as I share live or on replay, whenever you're joining, is that I really want to encourage you to just commit for the next few days, as I'm encouraging you to commit right now during our time together, that you are choosing to see more, that you're choosing to move into your days through the lens of the child, through the lens of the innocence, right? And what that means is that you choose to move into a place and a space in which you choose to see more outside of what you think you know, and outside of the expectations that you've set ahead of you that are based on your history and your past. And I understand that a lot of times it's like, well, how do you do that, right? Because a lot of this is very automatic, right? It happens with the brain, automatic. And the easiest way that I've come to learn how to step into that is that I choose to lean into new ways of moving through my day, new ways to move into my actions of the day. And it can start as simple as waking up on the other side of the bed, sleeping on, flipped around on your bed, right? Just finding new ways to distort how you see that which has been in front of you since yesterday. Thank you. And the reason they were telling me it was so important because this movement is happening, and they kept showing me like 4 to 5 days, and it's been happening for a while, but because we're talking now, just to share that it's going to be felt very palpably. And these spirals were going to be touching each of us in ways that were going to encourage us to see and experience more of our potential. Thank you. More of what's available within our gifts, within our mindset. Thank you. And within our understanding of creation. As I mentioned earlier, it was like a molecular change that was happening within the physical matter, but also a change that was physically impacting the physical form. And the reason I'm asking and inviting you to commit to this all-like state as often as you can in the next few days is because you commune with that spiral, you commune with that energy, you commune with something greater that is pulling you up. Thank you. Pulling you up. And not that in any way they're indicating that where you're at is not up, but indicating up where you can see much more. Thank you. I love that. Much more of the movement, they're saying, that is taking place for us all on a soul level, on a matter level. Thank you. And I want to encourage you to think and dream bigger. Like I mentioned in the beginning, that they keep asking and inviting me. You know, it's interesting because I love sitting with divine. I love sitting with the angels. I love sitting with source and universe and God. Like I love communing with this love, and I love to feed the bliss. I love to feed the joy. I love to feed the creation and the possibilities. I like to play. I like to see more for my life, for my children, my clients, my loved ones. I like to see more of what's possible. I like to dream big. But even in my own experience of that and enjoyment of that, I audibly keep hearing, think and dream bigger. And if you are a teacher, a coach, a leader, a healer, I want to encourage you to understand that if this is ringing, if this is resonating, which it should, they're saying it should for all of us. So I'm going to talk in different ways for this. I need you to understand that there's more to your vision than what you think. And I know that many of you have gotten many visions because I can see some of the people who are here. So I know many of you have gotten visions, but I am encouraging you to understand that I'm asking and inviting you and encouraging you based on what they're saying. And I mean, it was so intense in my meditation before my time here, is to dream and think bigger. And it's not about the material experience of life, but understanding that there's something bigger that is pulling you into your tomorrow, something bigger that is trying to help you to know and own that everything is going to be okay. For you to know and own that you are in the process of creation, that you haven't arrived, and that in so many ways there's something more that is saying, come home. Come home to what else is possible. And then those that are not coaches, that are not healers, that are not speakers or leaders, who are not in that field, but are in this other field, they might be doing other stuff. Maybe you have other kinds of business. Maybe you're a teacher. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom or dad or whatever it might be. It's like understanding, like, dream and think bigger. Not outside of the beautiful life you created, but think bigger of what else is possible in my life that has not yet come to be because I've been in recreation mode. And as I mentioned this, while I was meditating, they kept repeating recreation and creation. And they were showing me these spirals moving through our collective to distort some of this, but that it was hitting certain dense matter because of the mindset and the conversations that are happening on a collective global that are just interrupting the experience that can be anchored through that flow. So for a moment, as I continue, for a moment, because we're going to be talking a lot more about what else was shared about this, but I want you to take a moment, like, what does that mean to you? Dream bigger. Dream bigger. So for example, where I'm being encouraged, where I'm leaning into this, and where I'm saying yes to more of what this looks like is, for example, I'm working on my kids' program, right? And they're moving energy in my left ear. I'm working on my kids' program, helping these kids, sensitive, intuitive children, and helping their parents, helping them move through life, feeling more confident, more able to understand that their gifts are their superpowers. And when I'm being encouraged to dream and think bigger, it's like understanding that this level of commitment to this vision, to this passion, is also including a movement that can change even how school systems are run and how things are done in society in a way, even on a mainstream level. And it's like, yes, saying yes to that, like to that level of impact, that level of love, that level of commitment and dedication to my purpose, my vision, and why I'm here. And I am encouraging you to take a minute. We're going to take a minute or two, and I want you to just stretch yourself, whatever field you're in, whatever it is you do, whatever it is you don't do, whatever it is that you want to do. I want to encourage you to stretch yourself for the next few minutes as we anchor a lot of what was being given in my meditation. What does that dream and think bigger look like to you? And it could be that you just want things to move a certain way within your family structure, within your physical body, with how you feel, with how you move, with how you age, with how you thrive. Like it can look in any way and in any direction you want to take this, but I want you to we're going to take 1 or 2 minutes for everyone to really identify, like, what does that look like? What does that look like? And I am audibly being asked to bring something into the conversation. So as we start this, and before we even go into further, this is they said the words, judgment is not required, which is an interesting thing for them to say. And they were sharing, and not that everybody here is doing this or in any way applies to everybody, but they were showing me many layers of judgment that are being found within the collective. And this applies to all of us. So I'm speaking to all of us, including myself. And they audibly said loudly, judgment is not required. And they were showing me judgment, not just for other people, but judgment towards ourselves, right? Just judgment about, like, oh, spirituality should look this way or not that way, or like, oh, this is right or this is wrong, or they look good or they don't look good, or like, I should have said this, I shouldn't have said that. Like, it's like this judgment. And I know there's a huge difference between judgment and discernment. Discernment and judgment, very complete different conversations, completely different topics. But they're telling me I need to bring this in as I'm encouraging you to dream bigger. And they said, judgment is not required. They said it binds the mold. And I was being shown this beautiful mold the soul is holding and encouraging us to step into. And what they were saying is that when judgment takes over, whether it's in a small scale or a bigger scale, when it takes over, it distorts the mold of the soul. And the best way that I can explain it, if we were listening to music or like a vibration of a sound and it goes like really loud, and you know how like the wavelengths in the music or the sound kind of get all pitchy and like all messed up and distorted, like it looks like that. And they were sharing with me that when we lean into judgment towards ourselves and others, right, or even just the expectations of what we think something should be, but it's not matching, and we choose to judge it or make it less, or take away from whatever value it can have, it binds the mold. And not just binds it because it keeps it from expanded, but it distorts it in such a way that it becomes vibrationally a very like high pitch, disoriented sound. And they said that there's too many ideologies of the proper form, and it is about discovering it for yourself. So what they mean by that, and I know ideologies, I feel like I'm saying it wrong, so I apologize, my Spanish accent's coming out there. It's distorting what I'm trying to say here. But it's like that in so many ways, there's all these concepts and ideas of what should be, the expectations of even like what you hold for yourself. And that is not allowing you to lean more into the most proper form to discover yourself. And the reason they're identifying this before I push you further into the dream big, think big, and connecting to that is that it's not about taking time to judge what isn't or hasn't been, or what isn't working, or what you don't like. It's not about that at all. We're not encouraging any of that. Nor are we encouraging in any way for you to lean into the judgment that, well, if I want to be spiritual, if I want to be a leader, if I want to do that, it needs to look like this, or it needs to look like that, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. But just to step outside, thank you, I love that. To step outside of whatever structure you've used in the past to think bigger and dream bigger, to step outside just for our time together in the moving energy, to step outside of that structure. Step back enough where you decide it can look different than what I've ever seen or known before. Energy's moving. It can look and feel different than it's ever been or seen before. And it might be so outside your realm to stretch yourself with the things that we're talking about, that it may mean that some of the things that you're thinking or want to identify to dream and think bigger involves the house looking different, involves maybe the city you're in looking different, it involves maybe your body being different, it involves maybe you changing careers. But as best as you can, in the next few minutes, we're going to do this together. I'm going to encourage everyone, we're going to do a little breath exercise, and we're going to go ahead and because I'm getting really dizzy right now. So we're going to go ahead and actually do an exercise in which we step into seeing more outside of the structure we have known. And like they said in my meditation, recreation and creation, they were showing me, it's like, there's this dance we do as humans, and every day we do this dance. We're either in recreation, recreating what we've known, what we've seen in our past, what we've been told. We're like literally recreating every day or yesterday. We're recreating, if not what we did yesterday, we're recreating what our parents experienced. We're constantly either recreating or creating. Either way, the word creating is in there, right? So it's either creating something new and feeding something else that goes outside of who we've known as ourselves, or we're recreating, further solidifying and anchoring who we think we are and who we think we need to be and be known by ourselves and by others. And there's nothing wrong with the recreation, but we are encouraging you to lean into the creation. Because the reality is, on a soul level, on an energetics level, on a universe, God, source, energy, that's an expansive life force. It's an expansive life force, right? It's seeking to grow. It's seeking to evolve. It's seeking to thrive. It's seeking to bless. It's seeking to expand outside structure. It's seeking to expand outside a mold. It's seeking to expand. And if we're here together, breathing, alive, it's because there is a part of us that's still growing, that's still thriving, that's still expanding and becoming more.